What is it that you'd like to experience? What is that emotional frequency you'd like to be experiencing? And how do you create it for yourself? How do you examine and contemplate where you have strong expectations and you're holding yourself up against the expectations of society or the framework that you've been taught? And where can you find your own way with it? Welcome to Energetics with Kim and Veronica, where we invite you to nourish the energy of your inner why, your inner healing, magic, prosperity, your curiosity, clarity, playfulness. Welcome home. Today we are going to talk about creating your own expression and experience of the holidays and how that's really a playground for life. I'm Veronica and I'm here with Kim, and I know my name today. We're with the Energetics podcast, bringing to you the conversation of everything that happens in our inner world, our inner environment, and how that translates to our experience of life, of reality, of ourselves, and all of it. Hi, Kim.
Hello, Veronica. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here, and welcome if it's your first time. Yeah. So who are you in and amongst traditions? I think is such a cool topic. And the piece of, do you do it the way that you're supposed to? And I know probably 9 out of 10 people that are listening are like, no, I always do it my own way. And so do Veronica and I. And so we just wanted to have a little share about what that looks like. And I was just sharing with Veronica just before we came on, like even a birthday celebration can be totally unique and different. And celebrations don't, always have to be, what we think they are. And it can be just a big hug or a whatever. Anyway, so let's go. Let's go.
Let's dive in. One of the things is like the holidays are so fun and so exciting, and there's so much. It's such a beautiful time that a lot of light and a lot of joy and a lot of community is activated on the planet. And there's also these frameworks that we have been taught that our holiday experience should fall into. And so sometimes when it doesn't fit into that framework, it's easy for us to create stories about how there's wrongness about us, or there's wrongness about our family or our situation that doesn't allow us to align with those frameworks. So Christmas or Thanksgiving should look a very specific way with the right family members doing the right things and everyone's happy and hugging and loving. And then we don't have that experience for various reasons. And so now there's a wrongness that's created instead of leaning into and exploring and contemplating, well, how can I make this work for me? And I know I've shared in a prior podcast as well, that I don't live close to my parents. And my husband is Muslim and from a Muslim family. And people ask me all the time, don't you fly home to be with your family for Christmas? And it doesn't work for us for various reasons. And so we don't make that mean anything. And we create our own experience of the holidays with friends. And we make it whatever we decide to make it. And we make it fun. And we start asking people, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And every time it's different. And we just don't have it fit into that normal framework. But instead of creating a wrongness or a story around it, we make it our own. And it's different every time, and it's fun every time, and it works.
Yeah. Well, last year, do I remember that he actually went home last year?
Correct. Yeah. So my husband wasn't around, and everyone was like, I think we talked about this on a podcast. Everyone was like, oh my goodness, he's not here for the holidays. And I didn't even think about it. All I was thinking about is, what can I create? What can my daughter and I create? How much fun can we have? How beautiful and magical can we make it? And it really was incredible and special. And I really doubled down on my time with her, and, allowed us to have that little cocoon of time together, and creating the magic together without it having to fit within that specific framework of him being here.
Yeah. And there's so many people that are listening that also, their world doesn't include Christmas either. But instead of you making him wrong for not spending it with you, you gave him space to be with it in a way that he wanted to be with. So he went home to be with his family. I love that. Like, there's so many people. There's so many people, and possibly me included, I'm not sure, who would be, kind of like, yeah, but, right? And like Ken and I don't wake up in the morning on Christmas morning together either. And I used to make that a thing. And but it's like, you know what? It's not his thing though. Christmas is not his thing at all. So why would I make him wrong for how he wants to experience it? It's such a funny, funny, funny thing. I remember when I first, now this is just my own thing. I'm not expecting anyone to agree with me here, or you just do you. Right? I remember when I first, when consciousness first activated my own inner world with DNA, because I did not get into what people call spirituality or consciousness. It got into me. So I had one of those experiences that people talk about, those spontaneous wake ups. I went through the tunnel, all that stuff. When I had that experience, I looked around at this reality and I couldn't do, there was a lot that I couldn't do anymore because it seemed fake to me. Now, listen, I grew up in a family where Christmas was, holy crap, there would have been 2 green garbage bags full of presents for every kid. My parents did not have lack, and my mom is a Christmas fanatic. I mean, she would take a cookie until she couldn't anymore, and the icing would be like paint. Every cookie would be painted with icing. Like everything was extreme, right? And then all of a sudden, and so my kids grew up like that as well. I didn't do the cookie painting because I did not have that particular talent or did not develop it. And then when I had this, whatever that was, I was like, yeah, I couldn't do it anymore. It was like, no, it doesn't sit anymore. Now my kids grew up with it, and then all of a sudden I forget how old they are because me and time is a thing. But they were definitely 8 and 10 or 10 and 12 or 12 and 14, something like that. They were old enough to realize, wait, what? What's happening, right? So I still did the gifts and all that too, but I had to now make it in a way like what you said, Veronica. How can I make this in a way that I'm not making it wrong? How can I make this fun and still be in what's true for me around it? Now, before I had my whatever that was, wake up, DNA activation, whatever that was, I did have a real issue for me about the Santa Claus thing because I was like, I remember personally when I found out that Santa was my parents. And listen, I was a deep kid. I was born this way, right? I felt like my parents lied to me. And then I felt like, how do I trust my parents now that I know they've lied to me for years and even played it out so well? Like I bought into the lie, hook, line, and sinker. So I started looking at, well, where else are they doing that? Like, isn't that crazy? Like I was probably grade primary or grade 1, and I'm thinking this way, looking at the world going, wait, I bought into that lie. And now what is that? So I recognized that right away. And I did this. This was my wake up a lot of the times. For those who are on just listening, I'm crossing my eyebrows or however you do that. But yeah, and so then I had my kids and remembered how I responded when I found out that my parents lied to me. And I bought into it, and they played it out and all the things. And my friends were telling me that Santa wasn't real. And I was like, no, my parents wouldn't lie to me. Like I stood up for my parents, and I had backbone. And so, yeah, so then my kids are little, and I'm like, great. Now what do I do? And I remember having a conversation with my mom and my sister, and they're like, why can't you just be like everyone else? And I'm like, good question. I couldn't do it. So it's like, how do I do this? And so I found a way to do it, right? Because I didn't want my kids to miss out on the magic of what that creates for a little kid. But I also had to have my own integrity too. And so I looked at it in the way that, well, you know what? If people want to call Santa Claus, if that's the name they want to give to that spirit of gifting at this time of year, okay. It's a spirit of gifting. That's all it is, right? And a spirit of magic. Can I reframe it? Not only for myself, for my kids as well, right? Um, so yeah, so that's what I did with it. So I would talk about the spirit of Santa Claus. And maybe I was mind effing myself just to come to some type of terms for myself so that I wanted my kids to experience the whatever all that was, but I had to do it in a way that also worked for me and in my integrity. And so that's how I did it, with the spirit of Christmas, or the spirit, sorry, of Santa Claus or Saint Nick, whatever you want to call it. And I know you've done something very similar as well with your daughter, because your daughter is at the ripe, beautiful age now of all of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
well, but for me, we haven't gone into the nuances of it. There's the elves and the fairies and the Santa and all of that, and I'm just waiting for her to ask me. And when she does ask me and she's ready for to have that contemplation, then I'll tell her the truth. But really, it's about making it our own instead of trying to fit
right.
into this mold of what we're
Yeah.
told that it should look like. The experience of us being with family or friends or whatever that might look like, and having a very specific formula or framework, inviting everyone into the contemplation of what would be magical and fun and joyful for me going into this season. And
Yeah.
sometimes we have commitments that we are going to uphold, even though that might not be fun for us. Always, one of the things that we always invite clients and participants in our community to consider is, if I could feel anything through this season, what might that be? What if I could feel it, right? So we're getting down to the emotional frequency of what it is we would like to experience instead of it having to look a certain way. What might it feel like? And
Yeah.
inviting yourselves to contemplate. And once you get clarity on, oh, I'd like it to feel like this or like that, then what can I create to allow that feeling to be a part of my experience through the holidays, even if I'm sitting here by myself on my own, right? Which some folks have that experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that I would like to experience as I move into the holiday season and to the activities and events and the commitments or lack of opportunities for gatherings? What is it that I would like to experience, and where can I begin to create that for myself, instead of expecting people to be a certain way, instead of circumstances to be a certain way? Really, it's a reflection on how we navigate life. Where can I create it for myself?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So I'm just curious. So with your daughter, uh, you just kind of use the terminology of Santa Claus as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and like you said, like when she gets to the curious place and asks, of course
Hmm.
of course you'll let her know. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so there's no right way of doing this. There really isn't. There's no wrong way of doing it, for sure. Um, and so, like you said, it's what is your way, and that is a fun thing to discover. Like for me, I got to the place where I was like I said, my mom, there was nothing that was left undecorated, and we had a huge house. I mean, even the toilet seat, Veronica, had a cover over it, right?
That's
Like,
fun. That's fun.
right, everything, and it was so, she loves it, love it, and so that's her thing. And so all of a sudden I'm in this place where I'm like, you know what, I don't feel like doing a tree this year. No, and that's how I live it now. So I'm like, you know what, some years I put up a tree. I don't do it because you're supposed to, it's tradition, right? And I love the actual original, from what I understand to be the original meaning of what was it all about to bring a tree in the house anyway. Well, from my understanding, the ancients it was like a promise of everlasting life. Any of the greenery or the greenery like that, like the wreath on the door was the circle and everlasting life. Because this time of year, like where I live, there's not much going on out there that is alive when it comes to plants on the earth and trees. But the Christmas tree, whatever those are, like the firs, the pines, whatever, those are still alive. So they would bring it in the house as that reminder. Yeah, it's dark, it's cold, all the veggies in the ground are dead, but there's this thing that still has life. And so yeah, it represented everlasting life is what the original meaning of the tree coming into the house and the greenery. And so I was able to dig deeper into what is the Yule log? What is the wreath on the door? What is the Christmas tree? What is all this? And so that's how I brought some, what would you call that? A different version of tradition into it for me. Was where did this stem from? What's it all about, right? And because it is the darker time of year, like it's dark here where I'm at around 4:30 in the afternoon, as opposed to 9:30 in the evening. So that's quite a big difference. So the lights was also a reminder of that, right? Okay, yeah. So this isn't going to be forever. So yeah, let's bring it in. So on that subconscious level or whatever you want to call that, our ancestors, if you will, that's what it was all about. And the Yule log, and there's so many. So I actually hosted an event once in person, and it was really fun. And that's what the whole event was bringing back the perhaps traditional or older meaning. And people left going, oh my God, I can now appreciate my decorations so much more. And it was so cool. But yeah, on that, so I went on a little binge there because I get excited about, do it your way when it comes to your birthday, any season. Yeah, this year I might actually do a tree, but it'll be because I feel like it. It won't be because I'm supposed to, right? And I went for about 10 years without doing a tree at all because I wasn't feeling it. I don't have a bunch of visitors or my kids were older. They were in one part, I was in another part, so I wasn't even really seeing them. And so yeah, so where I live now in the woods, partially in the woods, and I have a condo in Dartmouth or in the city as well. Ken and I do. It is literally about last year. I didn't feel like doing a tree because it was like, you know what? It was a lot of work. I love it when it's up, but it was a lot of work to put it up and a lot of work to take it down. And so I didn't bother. Now this year I might. And so, that's how I do it. I definitely always do the big turkey dinner because I love that. And it's a great opportunity to be with my family and my kids. No, I have grandbabies, right? Of course, I love waking up Christmas morning at their place with it. They've got all the trees and I totally belong in that situation. And I bring my belonging. I bring the gifts and I experience it that way. But for me in my own house, I don't typically bother with that stuff unless I do. So it's what is it for me this year? What's it going to be this year? And I might do a tree this year. I might be feeling it this year, right? Yeah. So that was a lot. I went on a thing.
You went on a thing. Yeah. It's just a very good replica of life. What is it that you'd like to experience? What is that emotional frequency you'd like to be experiencing? And how do you create it for yourself? How do you examine and contemplate where you have strong expectations and you're holding yourself up against the expectations of society or the framework that you've been taught, and where can you find your own way with it? And I love how you brought that in, Kim, too, as well as what can I bring into the room? So as I'm, not everyone enjoys going to spend time with family, but it's a commitment, so it's a requirement. And so how can you even allow that to be an opportunity to play with? What energy can I bring into the room? What bright light can I bring into the room? Or what fun can I bring into the room? Or, what is it that I can bring in energetically, and how can I experience that in a room where it doesn't normally feel as contributing to what aligns best with me. And
Yeah.
just flip it on your head. So now you're creating it instead of reacting to whatever you've committed to through the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah. And without it being a performance too,
Mm-hmm.
right? What's actually authentic? How can I show up in my authentic self? Who am I amidst the noise? Do I lose me amidst the noise? Or can I, get curious about the people who are in the room? And, maybe, if I don't feel I want to have that conversation, maybe I can listen and get curious about what is it that makes them tick about that conversation, right? Or whatever it is. And so, yeah, I don't have to interject in a, I can just kind of be present and listen and be curious. And for me, I'll connect with the heart of the people. It doesn't matter really what they're saying, right? I mean, sometimes it's a conversation I want to be involved in, but sometimes not. So when I'm bringing my belonging into the room, I'm bringing my heart frequency into the room. What if I was able to align with or get curious about their heart, regardless of what noise they are actually being or sharing and listen. Doesn't mean I have to. I can be like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in listening about that topic, not even. And I can stand there and smile and then like, yep, cool. And yeah, but it is about that curiosity piece for me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Without deciding what they're talking about is wrong or is boring. So I tend to start off with love, connecting to my heart, connecting to theirs. So I'm being a frequency, and that'll often be also an invitation for others to be a frequency as well. It doesn't mean they'll choose it.
Amazing. I love it.
Amazing. Cool.
The
So let me ask you a
invitation to.
question. Curious.
Mhm.
Do you and Zara do a tree?
Yeah, we do every year.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. I want to see
Yeah.
pictures of it this year. I
Okay, I
might
will share.
actually do one. So where I live in the woods, Ken and I will wander around the property and look for a tree that, okay, this one, it's like thinning out an area. And so I end up with these Charlie Brown trees.
So cute.
I love it, right? And they got to be no taller than me because I don't want to have to, work that hard. That's not fun for me. And so, yeah, I make it fun. I make it work if I'm going to do it. And this year, I'm looking at I'm thinking, yeah, I might actually do it. Now that could change tomorrow, but yeah.
I love it. So contemplating, what is it that you desire to experience, and go and curate and create it yourself.
Yeah, make it yours. Oh, and here's another fun thing I do. My kids have always, and my grandbabies too, have always had to, they just don't get to look at a present under the tree and it says Merry Christmas to blah, blah, blah. No, I make it a little bit of a riddle on the gift tag. So they have to figure out who's that one for. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
so it
I
makes
love
them,
it.
it makes them right? It makes them a little annoyed at times because they're in such a rush, right? They're at that age where they just want to rip it open, and now they got to pause for a minute and figure out who is that for. And I'm sitting right there, so if they don't, I usually make it easy enough that they can
Yeah.
figure it out. But anyway, yeah.
That's super cute. I love it. Amazing. Well, thank you everyone for the conversation. We really appreciate if you like, comment, subscribe, share with anyone who you think could benefit from the conversation. It helps us get out there. So thank you so much, and until next time.
Next time, love ya.